it is back to school season already, and whether you will be sending kids to school or homeschooling, I wanted to share some tips that have made the whole packing, planning, and preparing lunches process so much easier in our home. So before I get started, this video is actually part of a video hop. It's the very first one I've ever participated in, so it's very fun. That means I'm partnering with a handful of other YouTubers here, and we're all sharing our best back to school tips. So when I'm done, be sure to check the description for the link to the next video so you can get all the awesome tips and get you set up for the best back to school experience possible. So we are a family of homeschoolers. For those who aren't familiar with me, I'm a mom of 7. I have kids everywhere from 10 months old all the way up to 19 now, which is crazy that one of my kids is an adult. But so we've got all the ages in our home, and we homeschool now, but my oldest used to attend school. So I am familiar with that packing lunch process, what it's like to rush around in the morning trying to get something together, what it's like to have an almost full lunch bags come back to you at the end of the day. I remember what that whole experience was like, and I wanted to share with you today some of the tips that made the lunch packing process easier in our home. So these tips are things that I have used so that I can help my kids be more independent. So my first tip for packing lunches is to ask your kids and your family members what they actually want to eat. When my oldest attended school, I remember there were times when he would bring his lunchbox home and the thing was still practically full. And what I quickly realized was he was not interested in eating some of the things that I thought would make a great lunch, or maybe he just wasn't in the mood for that item that day. So the biggest thing that helped with reducing food waste and making sure that he was actually nourished at school and enjoying his lunch was asking him what he actually wanted to eat. That seems kind of like a no-brainer, but it was something that I didn't always do. My second tip is to decant or unpackage your food. So this is something that I resisted for a long time. I can be rather stubborn. And for a long time, I was like, why would I buy a basket or a container, or especially like a $25 acrylic organizer, when the food that I'm buying already comes in a perfectly good box? Like, it felt like a waste of money to me. But after watching enough people do it and rave about it, I decided to try it myself. And I have to tell you that I was convinced pretty quickly about how great it was. One of the things that shocked me the most was when I took snacks like little fruit snacks or granola bars or whatever they are out of the boxes they came in and put them into those organizers. It freed up a ton of space in our little pantry. We do not have a walk-in pantry. I desperately wish we did. If we ever build a home or move, that is definitely going to be on my must-have list. So we don't have a ton of food storage space. And when I started taking these treats out of the boxes they came in and putting them into clear organizers, it freed up a ton of space in our pantries. Another reason I'm a big fan of decanting is because it lets you easily see how much you have of something and what you're running low on. So when my son went to school and we would have to pack his lunches, there were quite a few times when we would run to the pantry to grab something, packing his lunch last minute before we had to run out the door, only to find like the item, the special treat or whatever it was that he wanted was gone because we didn't realize that we had grabbed the last one the day before. So by decanting and taking the items out and putting them into like a clear acrylic organizer that I initially thought was a waste of money, but I'm a huge fan of now, it lets you easily see like, what do I need? What am I running low on? My next tip is to batch tasks. So I love to batch tasks because I don't know why, I just have a personality that hates like repetitive tasks. I hate to do the same thing day after day after day after day. So batching is doing something that you would have to do every day and doing like a whole week's worth at once. So I like to batch as many tasks as possible. So some examples of that are, instead of chopping veggies every single day and putting them in a bag every single day. Maybe you chop all the veggies on one food prep day, maybe like a Sunday before the week starts. And then you can even bag them separately. So you have like 7 bags ready to go, or you just put them in a big container and grab them each day when you need them. But at least the chopping part is done. I like to store my chopped veggies like carrots and stuff like that in a glass food container and then fill it with water, and that keeps them crisp and keeps them from drying out. Another great way to batch is to make items and then freeze them. And if you're using the freezer, you could do, a whole month's worth or maybe even a couple months worth at a time and really save yourself a lot of trouble. Another great thing about batching is it's really efficient and it saves time. So instead of having to get everything out, get your cutting board out, your knife out, all the vegetables out, chop them every single day, and then having to wash the cutting board and the knife and whatever every single day, you're only washing it once. You're only dealing with that stuff once. So it can be a great way to save time, work efficiently, and take just a task off your plate that doesn't need to be done on a regular basis or every day of the week. Okay, my 4th tip for making lunchtime easy is having a routine. Having like a special designated place for your child to unpack his or her lunchbox every day. So I did not have a system when my oldest was in school. And I remember he was, I don't know, maybe 3rd grade. We went back to school after, I think it was spring break, and we were looking for his lunchbox. We had no idea where this thing was. And we eventually found out that he had left it on the bus like a week and a half prior. And needless to say, it was disgusting. I don't even think we opened it. I remember we got it from the bus depot and it smelled so bad. I think we just threw it away and got a new one. So if you can have a routine in place so that you aren't met with like some moldy, stinky, disgusting surprises, those can be great. You can also have a routine for when the lunch gets packed. So we had our fair share of hectic mornings where we were running around at the last minute trying to throw things together. And that is never a fun way to start the day, with chaos and stress. So if you have a regular time to make your lunch, maybe it's the night before, maybe it's batching those tasks on the weekends, that can be a really great way to help your day start off in like a calm, relaxing manner. I have 2 more tips coming up, but before I go on, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so that you can get more tips and tricks for your home as I share them. My 5th tip for keeping lunches easy and hopefully taking a task off of your plate and helping the kiddos be even more independent is to have some type of system in place. So I like to have bins where the kids know that they can have a certain number of items every day. I don't want personally to be the food police in my house. And I, with 7 kids, get asked a bazillion questions every single day. So if I can like eliminate one of those questions, I will do so that I don't have to hear mom, 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 mom every second of every day. I love my kids, but there's only so much noise I can take. So the way I eliminate questions is by having color-coded bins so the kids know that they can have a certain number of each snack a day. And my last tip for making lunches easy and fun is to just throw in a surprise every once in a while. There are some really creative ideas on the internet for things that you can do with food. People have gone like above and beyond and created gorgeous pictures or fun little characters out of food for kids' lunches. So that's a fun thing to open your lunchbox and find. Adding some variety to lunches can also really help. If the kids usually get a sandwich, maybe throwing in a thermos of soup or, leftovers of their favorite dinner, just changing it up a little bit so it's not always the same can really help. My favorite way to keep lunches fun for my son when he was in school was just including a little love note on his napkins. He would come home, it would be hours after lunch, and he would just be beaming and so happy and, thank you for the note, Mom. And It was something that took me 2 seconds to do, but it really meant the world to him. So I hope these tips have been helpful. I hope they make lunchtime a little easier and less stressful in your home. And I would love for you to subscribe if you'd like more tips and hit the bell so you know when I have new videos up. And be sure to check the description for the next video in the hop, as well as some fun giveaways that we're doing. So happy back to school time, and I'll see you next time.